3 Sport Production. I'm your host, Suttles, and before we get started, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that sub button. Make sure you click that like button. YouTube always likes it. And be sure to leave your comments in the comment section. I want to hear what you got to think about this next subject. So without further ado, let's get it. So it's time. It is time, New York Giants fans. The preseason is officially over. It had the last game against the Jets, even though they got the L, but most of the first team really didn't play, and it was just a lot going on. That was basically for everybody who was basically trying to make the team. They can show out on that game, and there was a couple of standouts, but this video is not about that. All right. Preseason's over. The season is about to begin, and I'm about to give you my full schedule predictions and to see exactly where the New York Giants are going to be. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button. Make sure you click that like, and I want to hear everything that you got to say about this, because Giants season is here, and it's a lot of fantasies going around. There's a lot of, really thinking that we're going to be the best and we may be the worst. But I'm going to give you the real deal, what I think that we're going to do, and the concerns of which is going to come up. So throughout the season, from what I've seen in the preseason and from just overall, there's going to be multiple concerns that is going to really plague them. One of the biggest things is Kenny Golladay. I got to see what he's going to do week 1, because he needs to stand out. He needs to do something, because he looks like he is completely checked out, and it does not look good whatsoever. When your $75 million man is checked out, that's going to be a looming problem throughout the whole year. Now, Wan'Dale Robinson looked really good. Our wide receiving core looks like that they got some type of connection with Daniel Jones. Danny looks like he's a little bit comfortable in Daboll's system. Now, we really don't know about it because the preseason is basically just very vanilla, but he does look pretty decent in it. I would like to see what he's going to do throughout the season. I believe that he is going to make strides in this system, but at the same time, we have to understand he's entering his 4th year. And entering his 4th year, he literally only has one chance to prove himself. And this is a new system. I have to harp back onto it again. When we look at the greats, we look at Tom Brady when he entered with the Bucks. It took him about 8 to 10 weeks to get comfortable with the system. Aaron Rodgers, it took Aaron Rodgers the entire year to get used to Matt LaFleur's system. So for people that think he's just going to come out 88 out the gate on the first game, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a learning curve. I'm predicting that it's probably going to take around 8 to 12 games for him to really get into the system, but the team has to be strong enough to be able to get the wins without him really understanding all the concepts of what this playbook is all about. Our defense, I love the aggressiveness. I love what Wink Martindale is trying to do. He's saying that he's going to be the one to set the tempo, and that is a great attitude to have. We haven't had a defensive coordinator that had that type of spunk, that had that type of aggression in a very long time. So I'm very excited to see what the defense can do, especially that pass rush. The issue I see is going to be the secondary. We do have some weak points there. Aaron Robinson did not have a good preseason. He didn't even have a good camp. It's been an issue. He's a very physical corner, but he gets beat a lot off of the release. So we're going to see if he's going to be public enemy number 1 since Evan Ingram is gone. But let's get into the schedule and see exactly where we're going to end up. So week 1, we got the Tennessee Titans. I feel that that's going to be a loss. Entering with the Titans, they are a pretty stable organization. Vrabel has those guys playing very well. Of course, the run game behind King Henry, it's going to be tough to really stop that run game. We really don't have anybody on that defensive end. And then going on the offensive end, Titans always have a solid defense. It's going to be week 1. Everybody's going to have some rust. We may see some a little bit of highlights, but for the most part, I don't think that we're going to come out there. So we're going to chalk that up as an L. Carolina Panthers would be the second game, and I think that this is going to be an absolute win. Last year, we completely demoralized the Panthers. They do have Baker Mayfield. This would be Baker's second game. He'll be coming off probably the high win off of Cleveland, but the Panthers overall just aren't good enough to get through the Giants. I see that as a win for us. Dallas Cowboys, Monday night. It's not going to happen. As much as we hate Dallas, it's not going to happen. Monday Night Football, we have a new team, a new coach. Dallas, they're going to be competing for the division because of their talent and because of what they have. I don't believe that we get this win, but I do believe that it is going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout like how they did to us last year, but Dallas is going to take it from there. We're going to end up 1-2. Next, we're going to the Bears. That's going to be a win. The Bears are absolutely demoralized. They don't look good at all. Their offensive line, I think, probably got worse than last year. Justin Fields is a pretty good talent, but he's just like in no man's land. They have done nothing to really help him or build around him. The defense took a huge step back, so we're going to end up with the win on that and end up being 2-2. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Say less. I mean, he doesn't have any wide receivers. Their defense is always pretty decent, but A-Rod always knows how to get the job done, and especially against us as a team of where we're at right now, we're just trying to find an identity. We already know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, so we'll chalk that up as a. The Baltimore Ravens, Wink Martindale's old team. He's going to come out with very high emotions. I believe that this is going to be a defensive game. He's going to understand the nuance on how to stop Lamar Jackson. So this may actually be a surprise. It was really a coin toss because I would like to see where our offense is going to be at this point when we're facing the Ravens. Because I believe our defense will hold up enough to being able to win. They're not just going to ramrod us like they did last year, because I think Wink Martindale will have a scheme to stop Lamar and to stop that running game, but it has to come from the offense. The offense is going to have to win this game. This will be the perfect game for Daniel Jones to really break out and have one of his 2 great games that he usually has in a season. Last year was against the Saints and everybody was raving. I would like to see it up against the Ravens because it can definitely help us moving forward. But if I was to be a betting man, I would say we would take an L on this. I think it's going to be a close game, but we will take an L on this game. Next up, against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got rid of Urban Meyer, so that's always a good thing. They have gotten Christian Kirk. They got some weapons around Trevor Lawrence. They even got our old friend Evan Ingram. But at the end of the day, that Jacksonville team is not strong enough to beat us. We should go in there and we should at least win this game by double digits. I see that that's going to be a win for us, bringing us up to 3. Seattle will be the next game, another rebuilding team. This is the kind of season that when you have low-ranking teams like this, you kind of seen it last year with the Eagles. You got to beat who you're supposed to beat. You're trying to get to the playoffs. We are not a Super Bowl team whatsoever, so we can't be really thinking that high. But what I am saying is that if we beat the teams that we're supposed to beat, playoffs will be up in the air, and anything can happen in the playoffs. But we got to beat the teams that we're supposed to. Seattle is one of these teams that we are supposed to beat, so we need to go ahead, take care of business, and get to form. Next will be the Texans. Now, this is a tricky game because the Texans are really bad, and I believe that this is going to be a trap game. Coming off of 2 wins, The Giants may begin to start to feel themselves. I want to see what Daboll is going to be able to do to calm these guys down, to keep their eyes on the prize and to stay focused. But against the Texans, I think that this is going to be one of those L's that we are not supposed to take. Every season, you're supposed to beat somebody. You're supposed to lose to somebody. And this is going to be a game that we're supposed to win. And I think that we're going to lose and we're going to fall to 4-5. Next up is the Detroit Lions. Detroit is kind of on the same level as us. They're able to put up more offensive points out there with Dan Campbell. The coach I really do like. Jared Goff is someone that I don't. Their defense is, it's okay. Their offensive line is actually pretty good. And Swift is going to come into his own this season, I believe. This is going to be a tough game, but I do think that we pull it out towards the end, probably with a Graham Gano game-winning field goal or something of that nature. But we will be able to get past the Lions and make it to 5-5. The big game, the big game on Thanksgiving. Now, this is one of the games that you can absolutely put your stamp on the season and legitimately turn yourself from being bottom feeders to being playoff contention in our division. We play the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving Day. We haven't had a Thanksgiving Day game in so long, but I believe we will catch the Cowboys in the right system, in the right scenario, where we're going to win Thanksgiving Day. Yes, you heard it here. We're going to win Thanksgiving Day because relatively the way that the Cowboys always start, they always start out 88 out the gate and then they start to tailor off. And once you get to that Thanksgiving, that's when you can really tell about the Cowboys season. Are they going to make the playoffs or aren't they? Usually they start to break down in that Thanksgiving and just slide off in December, and that's when they start to look really bad. So it can either go really good or really bad, but I believe that the Giants are going to get them at that point, and we are going to move. So now at 6-5, we go ahead and we play the Washington Commanders. I honestly feel that this is the one team, just one team, that I know I can close my eyes and I know that Daniel Jones is going to have a great game against Washington. I have no idea what it is. It's just against Washington, he just feels extremely comfortable. Like that's a friend that he knows that he can beat at any moment. And he's going to put on a show and he's going to get that W. That's going to move us to 7-5. Now, up against the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, they got a damn good offensive line. Jalen Hurts is coming into his own. I still don't believe he's the passer of the ball, but they know how to win games. And I believe that at this point, as much as I hate the Eagles, we may fall to them at this point, bringing us down to 7-6, but we will get a crack at them again later on in the season. Next up, Washington Commanders. Like I said, I don't feel like that Daniel Jones, like I just have all confidence in Daniel Jones having a damn good game. I think in this game, Carson Wentz is going to use his magic. He's been demoralizing the New York Giants ever since he's came into the league. He's always had late game comebacks. I believe this is the one that he pulls out for Washington, bringing us to 7-7. Now remember, earlier, I said that it's always a game in the season that you can mark down as a win and mark down as a loss. And potentially, most likely, they can cross paths. I believe that this game will be the game that we may be marked to lose, but I think that we'll come out and play good enough that we will win this game against the Minnesota Vikings. They got Dalvin Cook. They got Kirk Cousins. They still got Adam Thielen. They got Jetties. They got a pretty damn good defense. Everything will line up to say that we're going to lose this game. But in fact, we are going to win this game. And I think that we're going to win by a touchdown or two. I think it's going to be a very big surprise when we play the Minnesota Vikings. So that's going to bring us to 8-7. Next game will be up against the Indianapolis Colts. It's really nothing to say about that. They got Jonathan Taylor. They just got Matt Ryan. That offensive line is phenomenal. Their defense is phenomenal. They are breaded to really try to make a Super Bowl run. That's why they're trying to figure out the quarterback situation. I think that we're going to take a L there. It's not going to be a blowout of anything. But I think that their run game is just going to grind on us, and it's going to be hard for us to score on them. So I think that we're going to drop to 8-8. And as I said towards the beginning, we will get a crack at the Eagles, and it's only fair that it's the NFC East. The last game is going to determine who's going to go to the playoffs. At 8-8, I believe we're going to win against the Philadelphia Eagles. We are going to beat them, and we're going to be going on to the playoffs with this sweet, savory taste of Eagles cry. Cry, Eagles cry. Mwah. And that's what I think is going to happen for this 2022 season. The Giants are going to end up 9-8. Sneaking their way into the playoffs, and when the playoffs happen, anything can go down. But if you disagree with me, go ahead and hit me in that comments. Even if you agree with me, let me know. But until next time, I'm out.